And up next, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Ernest Huffman. And Ernest hails from the great state of Texas. And Ernest, why don't you take a moment to introduce yourself, and why don't you also share with us about your presentation?
Thank you very much, Sharon. And thank you guys for the opportunity to speak to this student group. I did a little research on your group, and I'm just glad that you guys exist. I thought I was going to be speaking to a bunch of students who didn't know much about this industry. That's what I'm typically used to speaking to. But being able to speak to some students who know a little bit about the industry, I think is very worthwhile. And you guys are very fortunate to be interested in this industry at this time. Just imagine being there when Boeing began operations, when they started developing their first aircraft, or when Dell or the first computers were manufactured. You guys are at the forefront of a new industry that's transformative and will be around for decades to come. So let me get in my presentation. Once again, I am the Aviation Planning and Education Program Manager at North Central Texas Council of Governments. North Central Texas Council of Governments is a metropolitan planning organization for the DFW region, and we typically do transportation planning for all related modes of transportation in our region. Now, while viewing this presentation, guys, just think of the context of being the opportunities afforded to you guys. There's a lot of opportunities in this industry, and each one of these slides, the subtext will be opportunity for students, faculty, and others. So in the NCT COG region, we're a 16 county metro region, population 7 million plus, with 44 cities with population over 50,000 people. We're home to over 900 companies in both the aerospace and air transportation industries, and that will account for about 1 in every 6 jobs here in our area. And we're also home to 400 aviation-related facilities. And my purview is doing planning, surface-related transportation planning for all those 400 aviation facilities. So some quick definitions, and I apologize. I'm assuming most of you guys know a bit of this, but there's a lot of terminology that you've heard earlier today and that you'll hear throughout your careers in this industry. First being vertical mobility. I think of that as an all-inclusive term for all unmanned aviation technology that can be used for inspections, people movement, freight movement, and all those supporting services. Then there's advanced air mobility, and that's the use of the eVTOL, or electric vehicle takeoff and landing aircraft, to move people and cargo between places as a transportation system. Then there's urban air mobility, which is the transportation system around that, which will use highly automated aircraft, though, to operate in and around lower altitudes in urban and suburban areas. And then last but not least, and you guys heard a bit about this earlier, is the unmanned traffic management. And that's the unmanned aircraft system traffic management ecosystem for uncontrolled operations. It's going to be separate, but complementary to the existing FAA air traffic control system. The parameters around that are still being developed. You guys are all aware on how drones are currently being used in and around the city or metropolitan environment, and even rural environments. We got package delivery, search and rescue heavily being used, agricultural applications, rail inspection, videography, etc. But not a lot of that stuff's being done beyond visual line of sight or in automated fashion. And that's what's really, really important for that industry. And I think you guys can be a great help for that. There's different levels of autonomy when thinking and considering drone technology. So there's a 0 level of autonomy. That means the drone is 100% controlled by a pilot. Some of you folks may already be drone pilots. Most of us are still operating under that condition. No automation. The pilot is 100% in command. There's no onboard systems on that drone for automation. Then there's low automation, where the pilot still remains in control. The drone has control, but of at least one vital function on that aircraft. And that can be the direction it's headed, the altitude, but it's just one simple function that the drone will have control over, and it's typically software embedded. And there are a lot of folks operating under that condition. As a matter of fact, most folks operating professionally probably do operate under level 1 of automation. Then there's partial automation, where the pilot does remain responsible for safe operation, but the drone can take over heading of altitude and other things under certain conditions. There's some drones out there now that folks are operating commercially under level 2. Then there's level 3 automation, where it's conditional, where the pilot acts as a failback system. He's there for redundancy. The drone can perform all functions given certain conditions. Now, only place that I think they're operating in this condition is probably in the military, where a lot of the pilots are there from a redundant perspective. But from a professional use, you guys may not be able to use drones in that condition of automation for years to come. Next is high automation. That's when the pilot is completely out of the loop. The drone has backup systems for redundancy. One system fails, the platform will still remain operational. And then there's full automation, where that drone will be able to use AI tools to plan their flights autonomously, using learning systems on board. Essentially, those drones will be responsible for certain missions that they conduct and run on their own. And that's a fully automated system. That's where we want to go. And that's the most economically viable. And that gets to why autonomous drone operations are important. And I mentioned it a few times already. It's all about the money, folks. Having a pilot in command for majority of these operations in the future, very cost prohibitive, very expensive. The majority of these businesses are built off of pilots being out of the loop and these aircraft becoming autonomous. And here's a quick and dirty a look on what those opportunities look like by the year 2035 in the vertical mobility market. So from an inspection perspective, there's $34 billion potentially out there of opportunity. Then the goods and package movements, there's $4 billion potentially by 2035. And by 2035, none of that will be done automated. Then there's the passenger piece, passenger movement with 21 billion moving intra-city. That means city to city within a region. And then there's city to city pairs. Think Columbus to Cincinnati, or in our region, Dallas to Austin, Dallas to Houston. That's a large market. And then there's the supporting services. Supporting services will be inclusive of stuff that Lisa Peterson's group does, Sharon's group does, and to some extent what we do. And that's the planning services, the background services, the software packages that will be required to operate that industry. $4 billion market by 2035, all opportunity for you guys in the future. Now, it will take 4 main supply chains to build a viable commercial AAM ecosystem, okay? And think of these as just 4 silos of opportunity for you all. One is the AAM ground infrastructure. That's building those vertiports, vertistops that were mentioned earlier, in those multi-ports in and around cities, metropolitan areas, and even in some rural environments. Folks will have to build those, design those, and all the other requisite services you can imagine around those particular buildings will be required. Then managing the air traffic flow. That airspace will need to be monitored. You guys are all aware of the amount of air traffic controllers that are out there, the deficit in air traffic controllers that are coming. So the national airspace system still will need to be monitored. That low airspace system will need to be monitored, and we're going to need folks to do that. The eVTOL aircraft manufacturers. We're going to need folks manufacturing these aircraft once they become certified, and it's going to be wide scale manufacture, because believe it or not, every city, every large city or large metropolitan, mid-sized metropolitan area in the United States will have a confluence of these aircraft in the air. And that goes to most particular cities of that nature around the world. So large scale manufacturing, and anything to do with manufacturing, you can accompany engineering services, software services, all those type of things that go into building a viable aircraft. And then last but not least, the supply chain of operators of these eVTOLs and small drones. So before we get to the fully automated stage, all of these operations will be piloted. That's the eVTOL operations, and you guys are all already aware of the piloted exercises around small drones. That supply chain will continuously need to be taken care of. Great opportunity for students like you to matriculate into either operators, pilots of these aircraft, or trainers of the pilots for these aircrafts. So here's a quick and dirty list of a lot of those AAM, UAM, UTM related services that we really would like to see automated in the future. Think of precision agricultural, farming, forestry. Those can be automated. Surveying and mapping, automated. Inspection, monitoring, security, surveillance, law enforcement, and people searching, those can all be automated services in the future. Then there's the goods and goods movement. So think of UPS, Walmart delivering packages directly to your door via drone, 7-Eleven delivering package, Instacart, Grubhub, you name it. Those goods and services can be delivered to your home or apartment complex in an automated fashion in the future. From a passenger delivery perspective, you can all imagine. I think the best depiction I've seen of passenger movement in an eVTOL aircraft will probably be in the new show, Westworld. If you guys had the opportunity to take advantage of watching that show, it shows you exactly how that particular service will operate. And then the supporting services, air traffic management, the planning around the vertical stops, heliports, et cetera. We're gonna need these takeoff and landing locations at every major airport in America, and a majority of our smaller general aviation facilities in America will need these particular locations. And believe it or not, folks, there aren't nearly enough folks in the know currently. And by in the know, I mean there's probably 2 to 3 dozen of folks currently in the know in this country that can do any of those supporting services type work. And I'll be generous. I'll say 100 folks. You guys will have great opportunities in the future and that supporting services side of the game as well. So here's the future. You guys can all imagine, and it was mentioned, Jetsons, you probably are too young for that to understand what that reference is, but we're gonna be looking at package movement, last mile delivery with drones, air taxi movement in the rural areas. We're gonna have package delivery in the metropolitan areas, air medical services, intra-metro air shuttle. So think in my region, the 2 furthest cities would maybe be the city of Dallas and Fort Worth. We'll fly in region and do things like that, or the city of Dallas to Frisco, or even where I live in a Mansfield area, all around the Metroplex. Ubiquitous air taxi. So that's that city to city pairing where we'll be increasing our air transportation networks exponentially now with these smaller haul aircraft going in and around our cities. And overall though, we want all this stuff to be automated in the future. So from North Central Texas perspective, there's a few things we're doing as a region. We're doing a lot of university research. Majority of our 4-year universities are doing research in advanced air mobility, UTM, and et cetera. We've done numerous public and private partnerships. Our region, we're leading the nation in public safety adoption of technology, of drone technology. We've gotten mass adoption of UAS-related curriculum at all school levels, and that's from elementary school all the way up to the professional levels. Significant drone manufacturing ongoing in our region, and that's small drones all the way up to those air taxi aircraft are being made here. We've established the North Texas UAS Safety and Integration Initiative, so that's our main stakeholder body where we work to facilitate the integration of the technology into our region. So we're doing something analogous to what you folks are doing in Ohio, but on a smaller scale due to just our regional capacity. We're a member of the Urban Air Mobility Policy Collaborative. That's a group of regions around the country who are all interested in integrating drone technology, collaborating together on policy. And then we've been taking advantage of those NASA Advanced Air Mobility Working Groups that have been ongoing throughout the last few years. Notable accomplishments that we've gotten in our region. So via our task force, we got 160 plus organizations collaborating. And because of COVID, we've been able to do a lot of this outreach internationally. So we got folks attending that particular group from as far as New Zealand. We've established our first public education workshops called Know Before You Fly Your Drone workshops, which coincidentally is worked by Sharon Rosemark and her group. We have our public safety UAS response team. We've recently received our NASA community planning and integration partnership. And we also received a NASA national campaign partnership. So Ohio, you guys are working on the community engagement and integration piece. We're doing an infrastructure national campaign piece where we're looking to do a demonstration of an air taxi aircraft autonomous in our region in the next 2 years or so. Here's a quick and dirty slide on all the various advanced air mobility initiatives going on in our metropolitan area. Two big testing areas we got, the Alliance Mobility Innovation Zone. They're looking to use drone AAM technology to not only move cargo on their airfield for tenants like Amazon, Walmart, et cetera, but they're transferring those particular advanced air mobility or automated aircraft parcels to automated trucks. So in our region, we have a large network of automated freight companies working when we've been moving trucks up and down the interstate now for the last year or two, autonomously now. And we're gonna try to integrate drone technology into those operations, okay? Right across the street from our offices, we have L3 Harris Technologies. They have a training and simulation division where they're doing air taxi related training in the sim environment, and they do drone training in the sim environment for all manner of aircraft, military and commercial. They're looking to be the one-stop shop for all air taxi manufacturers for that in simulation training that most of those folks will have to do before they can get into an aircraft. Bell's one of our manufacturers in the region. They're manufacturing a large air taxi aircraft called Air Nexus, which is probably the coolest air taxi aircraft out there. Check it out at the CES. They roll out a great display every year. And they're developing 2 package delivery aircrafts, looking to do package movement throughout the Metroplex. And I'll leave this slide up. You guys get this later, just go through all the other initiatives in the area. But just to get to my conclusion, because I know we got to leap to questions, folks, the opportunity is here for students via research, jobs, there's entrepreneurial opportunities, STEM career opportunities, government opportunities. Every city government is going to have someone on staff who's knowledgeable in this space to integrate drone technology. And I mean, they're going to need them soon, and there are not enough folks currently doing it. So folks, follow up with each and every one of us after today, because there will be plenty of opportunity for you guys in the future. And I'm glad to know that Ohio State is one of the only institutions probably in the country that I've seen that's doing this, that's focused, that has a group of students that are focused here. Now, I run an aviation career page, so if you guys are interested in matriculating in all those aviation related careers, not just the pilot stuff, you can check us out here. You can reach me at my email there, and then we have our North Texas UAS website where you can check out all of our programming regarding drone integration and the things we're doing here in North Texas. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ernest. That was awesome, and was a great way to wrap up.